And happy Tuesday, the first official work day for most people in the year 2023. Hope it went very well for you. While we're waiting on folks to join, reminding you that coopedup.com is my website. You can visit that at any time. I'm Cooped Up as my handle on all the social places. Would love a follow wherever you watch or listen to this, and whatever platform you're on Instagram in particular. And wherever you watch or listen to this, be sure that you click on the notification bell, whatever it's called, subscribe button, so that you don't miss a second of it. This does air on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Trying to figure out how to get it to air on Instagram Live. I think I did it yesterday. Today I have a preview screen up and it does not appear to be working. So TBD on that. But it also airs in audio format on all of the major podcasting platforms too. So Monica is asking, is it cold out? It is chilly. It this morning. It started off not cold at all, but then it has, as the day has progressed, it's gotten. So I think the temperatures have gone up, but I think the air has either gotten drier or something. Because I was not wearing this until about 2 hours ago. Also, my house is cold right now. I'm not sure that we have the heat on. We may still have the air on from this weekend. And it's definitely not air on kind of weather at the moment. So we will see. Sorry, I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb there. Anyway, so how is everyone doing? Hope everyone is good. So as I said at the top of the broadcast, today is the first day back to work for most people. It was for me. I'm ready for it to be Friday already. I'm not going to lie. Thank God it's a 4-day week. Because about 5 hours into it, and I'm probably being generous saying 5 hours into it, I was like, I'm exhausted. I've taken a nap every afternoon for the last week and a half, or maybe a little more than that actually, and I've been kind of in holiday mode for the last 3 weeks or so. So going at it straight at it, like, no, it was. And Monica's saying, did you make it through the day? Negative. When I texted you earlier, Monica, I was getting in the car and I left. Because we have the added thing this month also, and I'll get to this at the top or in a little bit. But we are in application hell mode for Mason's high school stuff. All of the deadlines are coming up. First one is this Friday, and then after that, and after that, and after that. So I'll say more about that in a moment. So. And the day started early for me. I'm not going to lie. It started early because my in-laws left for Albuquerque this morning. They're driving out to Pasadena, California to see their new grandbaby, Adler Waters. And they're driving out there. They're going to take 4 days to do it. But today was the big drive. Because, getting out of Texas, going west, there's no good way to do it. And it's ugly. And there's no real place to stop. So they're stopping in Albuquerque tonight. And I just checked where they were on the Find Friends app or Find My app on Apple on iPhones. And they were on the edge of Albuquerque. So they're almost there. But they left at 7 a.m. I got up at 5:30 this morning, not because I wanted to be up at 5:30 this morning, but because at around that time, I'm sure everyone does this. I get nervous that I'm going to oversleep something, or even though I've got like an alarm clock set, all of that, about an hour or two beforehand, I start waking up like every 15 minutes. So more or less, I've been up since 5:30 this morning. So finally at about 6:15, I just got up, got dressed. I got dressed to go for a walk. It was still too dark to walk, so sent them on their way, and then did my first 2-mile walk of 2023. So I'm on a fitness roll. Yay. But and then back on my diet mostly today. I've already cheated a little bit. I did have a taco at lunch today. And it was a chicken and vegetable taco. So it was better than something bad with lots of beans and cheese and all that kind of stuff. It had no cheese. Literally was the corn tortilla. It's probably the worst part. Some chicken and some grilled veggies in it. But I needed it. Hey, Sandy. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing well. I saw that you commented after the broadcast yesterday. Sorry that we missed you live. But do you like this pullover, by the way? It is so cute. I like that it's got it's from Lands' End, and it's got elbow patches like an old professor. It's kind of like not mohair. What's the like? Not lamb's wool either. A lot of stuff is in this like fabric lately. So I'm enjoying it very much, and it's not too hot, not too cold. So, but but I am not drinking tonight. We have decided we're not doing dry January, but we are going to do more like moist January, damp January, not as wet as we normally are. So I'm going to play it by ear on the weekends. There may be times I do want to, there may be times I don't want to. If I go out with friends like Eric and I have, he and I are going to go to a comedian later this month. I will be drinking then, that kind of stuff. But like tonight, it's like a random Tuesday night. I'm going to be like, and I'm glad I know it's Tuesday. I think I'm going to be, yeah. So Martha called it dry-ish. Yes, exactly, dry-ish. Like that. Sherpa, I guess, is that what this fabric is called? I don't know. So, yeah, it got cooler this afternoon, Sandy. It did. But dry. So I'm going to be dry-ish. Just like this is news-ish, factual-ish. Yeah. So just, if I can say moist, it's moist. I know everyone hates that word, so I enjoy saying it very much. Moist. It's damp. Damp is actually a gross word to me too. But so we actually timed it perfectly. So the multiple cases of wine that we bought at Sam's for my in-laws visit, and again, they were here. If they would have stayed till this Thursday, it would have been a 2-week visit. They left this morning at 7 a.m. So the multiple cases of wine that we bought for it, we opened and finished the last one last night. So it was perfect timing. Yeah, so that's hopefully I need to get off the 2 pounds I gained while they were here, which I'm very proud of, only having gained 2 pounds over the holidays. And then I'm about 4 pounds from my original goal, but I want to add 5 to that so that I have a little wiggle room. So I want to get to 200 as my goal. I'm at 204 right now. And I actually did not weigh myself this morning. And I need to get to 195 though. And I did decide as I was getting dressed this morning, I thought I looked so cute. I turned sideways and I'm like, I got no chest. I got the chest of like a 9-year-old girl. And so I need to maybe work some push-ups into the thing. That's not fun. But the alternative is worse. Being fat and dead is worse than being fit and not loving it, I guess. That's a quote right there. Being fat and dead. Anything is worse than being fat and dead. Put that on a pillow. Speaking of deaths, actually, a lot of people died recently. Did y'all? I mean, they always say it comes in threes, but this last time it came in a fast 3. Like it was like the Three Stooges all at once. So first there was Pope Benedict, who died, and then Pele, and then Barbara Walters, like all within hours of each other. And it may not even be in that order, but I believe that's the correct order. I know the Pope was first. I don't know if Pele or Barbara, which one was next. But I was like, wow. And then on Sunday, so, I'm a big fan of CBS Sunday Morning, even though it has the commercials that tell you that you're old if you watch this show. All the commercials are for some boner pill or psoriasis pill, or there was one for like women who pee the bed and that you put a thing up your hoo-ha, I guess. I didn't actually. It said for women with urinary leakage or something like that, so I kind of like tuned out. But these are all the commercials that are on CBS Sunday Morning. Better than political. For a while, it was all the crazy, like, we're going to scare the fuck out of you political commercials. So I will grateful to watch a boner pill or something commercial. But the CBS Sunday Morning, one of their traditions is every year on the first broadcast of the new year, and in this case it was on January 1st, they do an in memoriam. They call it like Hail and Farewell. Hail and Farewell. I don't know if that's what it was, but it was in memoriam. So we're watching it, and Claire's sitting there with me. She's just on her iPad, but also kind of watching it. And about like 10 minutes into this thing, I mean, it was a long ass in memoriam, longer than I've ever seen one. Claire was like, in her way, basically said, "Damn, that's a lot of dead people." She didn't say damn, but she probably said something worse, actually. But it was a lot of people who died this year. Like, I was like, and I was reading something about this, and I think I had this conversation with Eric or someone else about this recently. It feels like a lot more celebrities are dying or famous people are dying. But the reality is there's just a lot more famous people now than there used to be. It used to be the only way to be famous was being a movie star or a major athlete, like in a major sport athlete. Or you might have been like a radio star. And then TV came around, and so you could be a TV star also. But there was only so much broadcast time and so many channels. There were no reruns, all that kind of stuff. Well, now there's like 1,000,003 ways to be famous, where you could be on TV, you could be in movies, you could be in sports, you could be streaming, you could be an influencer, you could be a host on some random TV show that's 17 layers deep into cable or streaming or whatever. So I think there's just a lot more ways to be famous now, which is why it seems like a lot more famous people are dying. Some of them, by the end, I will say that I have never gotten through an episode of CBS Sunday Morning without shedding a tear. Y'all know that I'm built too close to the water. I cry easily about stuff like that, sentimental stuff like that. But it was kind of like the layer on this one. It was like the layers. And I was just like had tears. I would have to wipe my eyes, and so I wasn't like heaving or anything. But just the barrage of it. Even people, I'm like they were mourning all of their producers and such who died. And admittedly, it's an old group of people who produced that show as well. So there's a lot of internal people there that they were memorializing as well. And I started like getting choked up about these people I've never heard of, never seen, not actually very famous, other than if you're kind of inside baseball on CBS production stuff. But yeah, the Barbara Walters death. So I can appreciate the trailblazer that she was. I can appreciate the doors that she opened. I think that she is a groundbreaking journalist and all that kind of stuff. There are moments, and granted, I guess there are moments in everyone's career, this applies in that situation, where I'm like, was she really all that nice of a person, though? Because, like, I always think back to the Dolly Parton interview that she did, where she asked some very, very sexist questions about Dolly's appearance. And the way she asked them it wasn't like, everyone wants to know this, or what do you think about this? It was kind of like, your kind of people. She actually used the phrase, your kind of people. Like, where I come from, your kind of people are hillbillies or something. And there's never a nice way to say your kind of people. Like, your kind of people are the most lovely souls on the planet. It's still patronizing to say your kind of people because it sounds like you're talking down to somebody, right? So I'm like, did she have to do it that way? And then they had some of her old colleagues. They had Sam Donaldson on there, who was like, she stole an interview from me. And he was like, I thought we were friends. And she said, we are friends. I just needed the interview more than you did. That sort of thing. It's like, ugh. She did start The View, and The View was like a first of its kind show. I didn't realize that it's been on the air as long as it has. I actually have not seen it recently. I couldn't tell you who's hosting it or anything. I just see clips on my social sometimes. But yeah. And then Pope Benedict, I think, are they burying him or they're having the funeral for him on Thursday, right? But it's a rare situation. There's never been in modern times a living pope who did the funeral for a retired pope, because there hasn't been one who retired in like 600 years. And CBS Sunday Morning, interestingly enough, they were interviewing about Pope Benedict when they got news that he had actually died. And the guy, like the priest that they were interviewing, you could see that he was kind of choked up about it. And even the reporter was like, this is not what I thought we were going to talk about. So they had to really like pivot pretty quickly. They all knew he was sick. The interesting thing, though, is remember when he retired? It was like 10 years ago, right? And weren't they saying it was because of his health? Like, weren't they saying he was in bad health? Like, Bitch could hang on. If that was 10 years ago, and that's what he did. And they're actually predicting now that Pope, why is his name falling out of my head? The new one, the current one, not all that new, that he may be considering retiring as well because he's physically like in dire straits, in a wheelchair most of the time. And all that. Do y'all remember Pope John Paul II? That is the Pope of my youth, the Pope of growing up in the 80s. He was like a superstar. I remember when he did a big tour of the United States of America and he came to San Antonio, Texas. And that was a big deal. And like a tornado or something blew the whole thing over the night before they were going to do it and all that stuff. When we left town, we lived in San Antonio at the time. And we left town, we went down to Concan, I think, and went like tubing and swimming and all that. But the tubing and swimming, my country's coming out. But the Pope John Paul, I remember by the end of his reign, is that the right thing? Term? It's not really a term. His rule, all that, whatever the right word for it is. But by the time he got to the end of that, it was like fucking Weekend at Bernie's. He was practically like Hannibal Lecter strapped to a forklift, not a forklift, you know what I'm talking about, a dolly, and being pushed around and then set up and then just, yeah. So Monica's saying, do you remember leaving super early from San Antonio to Concan is what she's referring to avoid? I do. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning. It was dark and it was cold. I also remember where I was sitting. We had a very small pickup truck, and to this day, I'm like, how I did not get taken away by CPS after that experience. And I'm guessing my mother is not watching again. I texted her earlier to see how she's feeling, and she's still sick. Had enough energy to feed the dogs, but other than that, she's sick. So send Cheryl some healing messages. I've got someone who was out today from my team. She has the flu now. She was diagnosed with the flu this morning. One of the people who works for me, her husband was down with the flu last week. So the flu's going around. I don't know if that's what my mom has, but it is going around. What else? Oh, tonight is Mega Millions. So I think it's on Fridays and Tuesdays, I believe, are the days. I have a standing order. I use this app called Jackpot. And actually, I can post a link to it. You get a free ticket the first time you play it if you use the link I send you. So, but so I have a standing order where it just automatically orders. It's a $3 ticket twice a week. So I'm in it for $6 a week because I have a set sequence of numbers that I use for everything. And they are my lucky numbers or combinations thereof. And I just don't think I could live with myself if those numbers randomly came up as the winning numbers. So I play every week. It sounds a lot more white trash than I mean it to. I do it on my app, but so I play my numbers, and tonight the jackpot is up to 785 million, I think is what they said, something like that. And if you take the cash payout, I think it comes to like 400 million, something like that. Still a big old chunk of change. So, a bitch can dream. It's like 1 in a 3.2 million chance of winning, something like that. But yeah. And of course it would be my luck. And I'm usually a very lucky person actually, but it would be my luck that my numbers would hit and it would be split by 26 people. Like that would be my luck. But yeah. So, but if you haven't played, you know what? I'm going to look it up real quick right now. Let me see if I can go to Jackpot. That's a lot dirtier than, that's actually a weird Jackpot. That sounds like a sex toy if you ask me, but let's see, order online. Let me see if I can log in online and get started, ready to play. Oh, you have to choose your state first. Yep. Already have an account. Let's log in. Oh, never mind. I'll get to that and I'll post it later. It's asking me 573 questions. So what would you do if you won? Monica is asking. I would immediately buy a house in Montecito, California. because the weather there is the best. It is so beautiful. It's close to a lot of things, but not in the middle of a lot of things. Also, Oprah lives there. But that is one of my favorite places I have been in California. I don't know if we would live there, probably. But Montecito is high on the list of places of things that I would do. I'd pay for my kids' school, like this new construction, give them enough money that they could expand, do basically everything they ever wanted to do with the school. Maybe name it after me. I don't know. I'm kidding. Monica's saying that Jack Pocket sounds like you calling someone a bad name. You're such a Jack Pocket. Now, I think it sounds like, well, I'm not going to say it. This should be the time I say it, though my mother's not watching. And then, talking about schools real quick, we are in application hell now. This is the hell month for Mason applying to high schools. And the first deadline is this Friday. So, and he finished his part. I still have to do, because on a lot of these, the parents have to do like essays and stuff too. It's crazy. So I have to do one that still is due on Friday. But once I'm done with that school is mostly done other than his shadow day and his interview. Another school has, and some of the questions overlap, but a lot of them don't. He has another one that's due next Friday. He also has to do a presentation for public school. So he's applying to three or four of the public magnets. So Booker T. Washington. So he has to do an audition for that. Booker T. Washington School of the Performing Arts, or it's got a longer name than that, but it's one of the top high schools in the country and here. And so he's applying to the Performing Arts Consortium in that. He has to do an audition at the end of this month. So we have a workshop on Saturday that we're going to learn about like the ins and outs of that, what to do, what not to do. For the business magnet, he's also applying to that. Also, that's a very highly ranked program. He's already had to put together a PowerPoint presentation, and it's turned it in. He's got to read the certain article also. And then next Thursday, I believe it is, maybe Wednesday, he has to make a presentation. You'll know when I say I'm not here that day because it starts at 5. He has to make a presentation. He has to present the PowerPoint presentation. And then he has to answer a series of questions that they ask him. It's a panel of like 2 students and a faculty member. So no pressure there. And then next Friday, another essay and questionnaire deadline. And then the following week, he has some he has 3 shadow days set up, and the 3 weeks after that. So for Green Hill, Lake Hill, and Parish Episcopal, he's got shadow days, and they took all day, and then he has to take the IC test still. He already took it once, but we're doing a retake, and that's on the Tuesday after MLK Day, and that's a half-day thing. So he's not getting perfect attendance this year for sure, but come February the 4th, I believe it is, a month from tomorrow. Yeah. We are just in the waiting game, the just sit and wait part. And everyone notifies on March the 10th. That is the date that all of us. And so, Monica, we're with you, I think, on March the 10th, or maybe the next day. I think it's on Saturday the 11th. We're driving down to Galveston to be with y'all. So that's hopefully it's a celebratory weekend. If not, I don't know. We'll see. It's weird that every single, the public schools and the private schools all do it like the minute before they let out for spring break. And I have a theory about that. I think the reason they do that is they know that they're not going to see families for a week after that. And they're closed for that week. And so they're hoping that maybe some of the Karens and the Chads of the world, they may calm down, cool their jets if they're have multiple nights to sleep on it, to think about it, to talk about it. So yes, we will celebrate. I agree. What else? Like I said, I was exhausted after about 5 hours of work today. Emily was just on. She turned me on to the non-alcoholic wine. Some of them are not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. And they're alcohol removed. So they make the wine and then they take the alcohol out of it. It has like the whole bottle has like 100 calories. They're a little on the sweet side, but I don't have any of those. But instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little mixer. I'm going to have a little mocktail tonight. Some 5-calorie cranberry juice with some like orange LaCroix, maybe with a squeeze of lime. I need to make sure I have some limes. And then I gotta find some stuff to keep myself occupied. I do need to go to my new office and install something this evening, so I may take a chance to do that. And Eric is saying and he's part of the school system. You are 100% correct about why they announced the magnet school admissions that day. You get them between 4 and 5 p.m. that day. Mark my word. Yep. And it actually specifically says 4 p.m. or later is when you get it. And I think it's because everyone's out the door. And yeah. So Sandy's interested in trying out some of the new non-alcohol options. Yeah. So I was at what's it called? Total Wine and More. And they have a whole section. There's non-alcoholic gin, there's non-alcoholic whiskey, there's non-alcoholic bourbon, there's non-alcoholic rum, all of these things. And so I guess it's just for the taste of those things. And not to pick. And then I've also seen, I get a lot of this on my social feeds, and I probably will get more now. There's a lot of these like pathogenic wines that are coming out that are made with like ashwagandha or CBD or something like that, where it's got lower calories. You don't have the effects of the alcohol, but it still gives you kind of that chill effect. So we will see. Anyway, Eric said he joined late. Love my top. Loves my top. Was it a Christmas? No, this was something I bought for myself. It is from Lands' End. I'm a Lands' End super fan. And, I love a quarter zip. I guess you call it a quarter zip, yeah. Or in this case, button. And it's got the little patches and such. It is kind of noisy when you're walking, especially if you've got a little extra weight on you. You have to walk with your elbows out so that you don't rub on your sides. But yeah. What else? And because I am done with my topics for the day, I believe. So I'm going to go through the comments and make sure I did not miss anybody. Monica says I need to make an at-home flu test. I agree. And I'm guessing the only reason I haven't is because the flu is a little bit different every year, maybe. But because we have at-home strep tests that we keep in the house so that when one of us has a terribly sore throat or something, we can just do it and then call in the pediatrician or telehealth or something and show them the results. Because strep is like the easiest thing to get rid of if you know you have it. It is a super like fragile disease. You get on antibiotics and within like 12 hours, you're done. But so we have the strep test, but flu, that would be a really nice one. And you would think that they would want to come up with a way to keep people away from the doctor's office. So, all righty. Well, that's all I got today. All righty. Well, and damn it, I forgot to ask if Carrie's going to be on tomorrow because she is back in town now. She got in Saturday night late. But I will ask her, and if she can be here, she'll be here. So with that, I'm going to say bye. I love you. It's important to know you were loved. I love that you watched. Thank you so much. And take care of yourself. Don't shoot yourself to death. That's particularly important with this resolution time that we're in. And I'll see you next time for another Cooped Up Live. Should I say, talk to you later. Bye.